Fred obviously has a popularity problem. I've been involved in politics. I'm going to have to counsel him on how to improve his image, get people to like him a little more. Fred's been such a star since he joined New York City & Company. And I don't know about you, the Southern charm definitely works. As I've spent time with him, I became as convinced as everyone on the board that this was the right man to lead the future of this great organization, and he has that energy. And actually, it's interesting, as a city of immigrants, and we're a city of immigrants from all over the world, we're also a city of immigrants from all over this country. And sometimes it's those who are newer who see our beauty and see our greatness most clearly, and I think Fred's a great example of that. So he's done, let's give him another round of applause. I knew you had to get out of your system, so I wanted to give you that second chance. You know, there's been such a dynamic team, creative team that has been in the leadership of this organization. I want to thank them all: Brian Grimaldi, Kevin Booth, Kelly Curtin, Willie Wong, Kimberly Spell, Chris Haywood, and Ed Hogikian. I hope I said that properly, Ed. They've all had so much to do with the level of innovation and success that New York City & Company has achieved. And part of it is reconceptualizing what this industry can mean, how it can be shaped, what it can mean for our whole city. And I'm a particular fan of the Neighborhood by Neighborhood program because it showcases the outer boroughs. Some people call it the outer boroughs, some of the rest of us call it home. It's so important to bring this business, to bring these opportunities to where the majority of our people live, and that Neighborhood by Neighborhood program has done that. I'm also, gotta say, I was so moved, not only in terms of our economy and tourism, but also in terms of the underlying meaning of the Rainbow Pilgrimage, which I think is a great example, celebrating this city's decisive role in the fight for the rights of LGBT people on the 40th anniversary of Stonewall. So that's an incredible thing that New York City & Company achieved. It is a compliment to Fred that he is worthy of succeeding George Fertitta. Now, George, I had only a brief occasion to get to know, but the one long meeting I had with George, I became convinced in the course of that meeting that I needed to visit New York City. I had this overwhelming sense of this urgency that I had to go to New York City. I called a travel agency during the meeting, only to realize I was already there. But, so it's a real statement that when we've talked to people about who's worthy of succeeding George, there was such enthusiasm for Fred, that you must be doing something right if you're following in the footsteps of a legendary leader and people feel you're really, really ready for that. So I think it's obvious the people in this room appreciate Fred, know what he's capable of, know what kind of partnership he'll create with all of you. And I want to tell you, all of us in city government, and certainly Deputy Mayor Alicia Glenn and I, look particularly forward to working with Fred as he assumes this leadership. Now, it is very fitting that Fred takes over, and he takes over here on this wonderful stage, which is one of the jewels of this city, and this is all of Lincoln Center, and it epitomizes how particular we are. There's a lot of great places in the world, there's a lot of great places in this country, there's something irreplaceable, there's something particularly magnetic about this city. And it takes so many forms, and all of you know it, and all of you articulate that to the world. And I think New York City & Company has managed to, in a really extraordinary way, epitomize for people what this city is about, why it's so special, why it is, in fact, so urgent for people to come here and experience it. And you've done it in part by doing things that people didn't know could be done. I think the experience I had with Super Bowl Boulevard is a great example of this. I'm someone, I was saying this to Fred the other day, if you had said to me that you could put that kind of extraordinary event in the middle of Times Square and all along Broadway, and that it would attract more visitors than the previous 3 Super Bowls combined had attracted to similar venues, I would have said it's a beautiful idea. I'm not sure it's actually logistically possible, but it's a beautiful idea. Well, I went there with my family, and It was breathtaking. It was stunning. It was New York City at its best. I went up in the Fox network, built a whole studio in the middle of Times Square from scratch to capture what was going on. And I went up there in the studio and I looked out the window, getting the view that all of America was getting. And I thought, you know, God bless New York City and Company and everyone else involved, because you could not have paid for the amount of advertising, in effect, we got of all those viewers seeing the energy at Times Square constantly throughout those days in the background. So it's that ambition, it's that creativity, it's that sense that we can do things that might have previously not seemed possible. I do want to tell you, because I'm a hands-on mayor, I decided I had to experience the whole thing. So I brought an expert in modern technology with me, Dante de Blasio. He went to the Xbox Pavilion. He was able to experience it. I would not have known how to do any of it, but he was all over it. We went to the field goal kicking pavilion. I was able eventually, it took a number of tries, but I was able to successfully kick a field goal. And then the whole family went on the toboggan, which was, let me take a show of hands. Who here in this room went on the toboggan? The brave souls. I have just in the last days stopped feeling the effect of the toboggan. The toboggan is not meant for people of a certain age. I'd just like to share that. Moving forward, putting that memory behind me. The amazing thing about everything that this industry has achieved is that it is a constant now in our lives. It's something that obviously a lot of us who've lived here a long time know was a question mark once upon a time. Now it's a constant positive, a growing positive in our city. And nothing slows that down because of what all of you have done to build up such a head of steam. Even the weather we've had in these last weeks, a lot of things got disrupted by weather. Tourism has not. And where we worry about the impact of on our budget, for example, of the difficult January and February we had weather-wise, tourism just kept coming along, just kept deepening, building up our economy, helping us to sustain, and that is part of why it's such a precious part of all we do. And it, obviously, you've set records in recent years. Fred intends to set some more. I want to encourage that worldview, because there's more we can do. We can build on this success. We have so much to offer. And we know that we have some things we have to do in city government to keep that record-setting capacity growing. I'm depending on all of you. I'm depending on the leadership of New York City and Company. But the notion that the city government plays a crucial partnership role in these efforts is in my mind at all times. NYC and Company can promote in the most effective manner. But what people have to see on the ground is a safe city, first and foremost. If this place is safe, as it's an amazing 20-year history of us getting safer and safer all the time, if this city is safe, all of the things are possible. And I got to tell you, I took that responsibility very, very seriously when I was elected. And I'm proud to say I chose the best police leader in the United States of America, Bill Bratton, to be our police commissioner, and it's paying off for the people of this city. Now, we keep safe, we keep providing the services that make this city work. We do all we're supposed to do in city government, allows all of you to do what you're capable of doing in terms of making this place extraordinary for people, letting people know, promoting all that's great about New York City. Now, I also know there's times when I have to help you in those promotional efforts, and I have already started. I will be, on Sunday evening, appearing in the season premiere of The Good Wife. I'm not allowed, I'm under some kind of penalty by death if I speak about any of the details, but I will tell you there's a tourism angle, okay? If you can't sleep between now and The Good Wife on Sunday night, I understand what you're feeling. We're really looking forward to working with you, each and every one of you, working with NYC and Company. We have not only the big goal of continuing to set records in terms of how many tourists that we receive, how long they stay here, something I know never crosses any of our minds, how much money they spend. That's a record I want to keep building on. We want to keep doing that, but there's also some examples of what we might be able to attain that can continue our growth. Obviously, the Super Bowl was an amazing step forward. And, the NFL took a chance on a cold weather venue. I think it proved to be an incredibly smart bet. and New York City just was so proudly held up its end of the bargain in all that was done here. But let's go for some other things. How about next year we get the NBA All-Star Game and make it and make the All-Star Game the biggest it's ever been, any of the NBA All-Star Games. How about we go after the conventions in 2016? I prefer the Democratic convention, personally. But the Republican convention would bring a lot of revenue, too. So we'd welcome them. In a bipartisan spirit, they can both come here. And there's something else we have to think about, which is, as we deepen our efforts to improve and strengthen our tourism industry, I know everyone in this room has felt the commitment that George has had, Fred has had, to making this a five-borough industry. I think you know enough about me to know that that's something I'm going to focus on all the time. We have so much more to offer in the outer boroughs that has just begun to be tapped. You know, when I see the tour buses go through Brooklyn, it gives me a thrill. Not long ago, that would have been a hard thing to believe we'd ever see. But now it's commonplace. Well, now I want to take the next step. I want folks to come to Brooklyn, spend a lot more time in Brooklyn, spend a lot more money in Brooklyn, stay longer, go to all of our amazing attractions. The same for Queens, the same for the Bronx, the same for Staten Island. Fred told me about this wonderful emerging interest that's taking so much more shape in the hip-hop history of the Bronx. And look, we have so many things to be proud of in New York City. We literally gave birth to a whole genre of music. And there's so many people around the world who relate to that and care about it. How can we make that a great blessing for the Bronx and deepen the tourism industry there? How are we going to take the extraordinary new attraction that the Wheel will be in Staten Island and make it into something that really deepens the stays that people spend on Staten Island, makes it an extraordinary focal point for development in Staten Island? How do we take the incredible diversity of Queens, where you can, the foodies already know it. The foodies seem to be obsessed with Jackson Heights. Have you noticed that? You just sort of grab a random foodie on the subway, they're probably going to Jackson Heights. How do we maximize that? We're going to push very hard to do everything we can do from the perspective of City Hall to deepen that five-borough focus in tourism. And one last point. You know, I think people in this room, you know what I stand for, what I care about. I want this to be a city of opportunity for all. This industry already has played such a crucial role in getting jobs for people who need that chance. We have to go one better. We have to find a way to reach even deeper, find folks who have not had opportunities, let them find great opportunity in the tourism industry. We have to find a way to train more people, both through our public schools and other tools, to come into this industry ready to take advantage of it. We have to find a way for folks who have not had advancement opportunities to get them through this industry. This is such a good news story, what's been achieved over the years with tourism in the city. Let's deepen it in a way that makes it also part of a transcendence where more and more people feel they have opportunity, more and more people can touch that opportunity and really get to a middle-class lifestyle through this industry. I often say, whatever our challenges, the goal is to create one city that's rising together, one city where everyone knows they actually have that chance. This industry is one of the bright spots that can be that. And I think as we do that, the story of New York only deepens, only becomes more powerful around the world as they watch our success. So I can say on behalf of all of us in city government, it'll be a great, great pleasure to work with all of you. I can tell you with Fred, you're going to have a leader of such energy and vision that it's going to make this work just continue to take off. And to everyone who's a part of supporting NYC and Company, I say a profound thank you. Thanks so much.